Here we are at video number 3, and I am really excited, and you will be too. We are going to talk about today what actually works to eliminate the fear of online speaking. The reality is though, and I want to be very clear on this, is that I want to avoid giving you a very specific checklist just saying, go do these 5 things, and if you do these 5 things, believe that fear is going to go away. Because that is the tendency, right? That I want to help. Well, I'm helpful by nature, so I want to help. But that's not actually being helpful at all. If I were to do that in this presentation, to just give you 5 things and say, go do these 5 things and your fear of online video speaking is going to go away, what percent of you are actually going to take action on that? Probably no one. And so if you think about what would happen in that case, I would help you be aware that you have a big problem. I would help you realize that what you've been doing is not going to work, right? But that's very dangerous for you. It'll put you on a path that you do not want to be on, and you'll get a false sense of security because I'm saying just go do these 5 things. But the reality is you don't know how to do it on your own. You don't have the willpower to do it. You don't have the habits built into your regular routine to do it. You're missing so many components that only working with a third party will enable you to actually implement any of what I say. Even if I gave you the top 5 things, you're not going to be able to implement it without someone. Instead, what I want to do is give you inspiration that there is a better way, and then give you an opportunity to connect with me so that I can offer you help if you so choose. That's how I can serve you, okay? I want to be really clear on that, so let's take a look. Again, today, the topic is what actually works to crush the fear of online speaking. You remember 2 days ago we talked about the nuances of in-person speaking versus online speaking and how they're so different from each other, remember? And if you guys weren't here, you definitely need to go back and take a look at part 1. Because I guarantee you, you're going to learn something about online speaking that is also known as video speaking. You're going to know why it's such a problem for so many people in general and for speakers specifically. I've just worked with so many of them over the years who are now struggling with this very problem. And you need to understand why it's such a problem, why the fear of online speaking is so insidious, and why it's time to take some action to do something about it. There's so many misconceptions out there about how to get rid of the fear of online speaking. And yesterday I tried to dispel some of those fears. And by the way, I'd love to see who's live with me here. If you're watching us live with me right now, can you just drop a word in the comments? Just say live. That lets me know that you're here. Because I want to be able to answer any of your questions. And I want to make sure that you come away with real clarity as to what you should be doing next. Okay, awesome. I'd also like to know in the comments if you have seen both parts 1 and part 2. Just type in me in the comments if you're one of the people that have seen it. Have you seen both parts 1 and 2? And if you've missed one, just put that in the comments too. Let me know which number that you missed, and I can come back afterwards and I can give you a direct link so that you can go watch it, okay? Looks like there's a number of you who have watched part 1 and 2. And a few of you are missing some parts too, so I'll drop those links in the comments afterwards. Now, after we go through today's topic, as I promised yesterday, you're going to discover the 3 keys to crushing the fear of online speaking, 3 keys to eliminating that fear of video speaking. And then, if you want some more help taking action on that, I'll explain exactly what you can do. So I'm excited because we're going to talk about some things that most speakers don't know because no one's ever told them this before. So 3 keys to actually ridding yourself of the fear of online speaking. Here we go. The first one I want to tell you about involves a mentee of mine that I met a few years ago. Now let me be clear, the process of becoming successful runs a similar course whatever discipline you're choosing to pursue. And although what I'm about to tell you about is about in-person speaking, the trajectory for improvement is about the same for online speaking. So she came to me already successful as a chiropractor. When we met, speaking did not seem to be on her mind, but she learned from me about this organization called Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an international organization where leaders are made, and they provide you with a good foundation if being a speaker is what you're about. Now, presumably, she had done some speaking as she achieved her education, but only in a limited capacity. Her desire to speak lay dormant after that. Toastmasters sort of stalked those cooling embers. You know what I mean? Stoked those cooling embers, and after talking with her, she decided to pursue Toastmasters. I saw a bright, confident, and accomplished person in front of me, but she did not know what she would talk about. Now, it may have been a simple case of her not having the confidence to be a speaker, but it showed up as her not knowing what she would speak about if she did become a speaker. Now, I assured her that she in fact had a story to tell. I mean, how could you progress from being a layman to being an accomplished chiropractor without having some stories to tell? How could you be an immigrant from the Caribbean, now living in America and married with children without having a story to tell? It seemed reasonable to me that perhaps I was looking at a young lady who had a confidence issue. Have you ever thought of confidence as an issue for you? As a speaker who can command a room and share details of a particular nature, tell me in the comments if you think that confidence is or isn't a problem for you. And it's not always obvious to us that confidence is our stumbling block. If you had asked her if she was confident, I am sure she would have said yes. But the reason that she thought she did not have a story to tell is this. It did not occur to her, and sometimes it doesn't occur to the rest of us, that things considered uninteresting, regular, and boring, telling the story to others will elevate that thing into being something extremely engaging to hear. Well, she took on Toastmasters, she came to be an excellent speaker, and actually made it to the world stage in the World Championship of Public Speaking that Toastmasters sponsors every year. So the first key to crushing the fear of anything, and in this case we are talking about online speaking, is listening to the right people, and we'll talk more about who the right people are later in this video. And you can imagine that a woman who likes people, who is socially connected, converses with others regularly, often gets unsolicited advice that means little. But I'll tell you something. She's a wife and a mother, which includes a whole lot of talents. The right people will easily tell her the truth, the way down deep inside truth that she already knew. The thought of her lacking confidence wouldn't even occur to her. And for those of you watching this video right now, online video speaking is something new, something different from in-person speaking. The lack of confidence occurs because it is something that you are not accustomed to doing. In the Toastmasters mission statement, they say something about them fostering self-confidence and personal growth, and they brought that confidence right on out of her. And the wonderful thing about confidence, folks, is that confidence in one area can be transferred to confidence in another area. And with just the right kind of information from just the right people, your confidence in online video speaking can be created just as easily. Number one is controlling the erosion of your confidence by relying on an outside objective opinion. Making the change from what you did to what you are now doing can erode confidence, but it can be overcome, I assure you. Number two is all about implementing what you don't know and what you already know. And don't think that implementing what you already know can be a problem. I'm going to tell you what I spoke about yesterday. I talked about memorizing speeches, which could get quite embarrassing if you ever drew a blank in the front of the room. For years I have known it's very necessary to write your speeches out before you gave them. Writing speeches lands for me as work, and I don't like the work. So for years, I delivered my speeches by practicing them countless times before I gave them. But I never wrote them out. Why wouldn't I write out my speeches? Why? Now, if you're here live with me now, indicate in the comments whether you write out your speeches or not. Or do you prefer to practice your speeches over and over and over and over and over and memorize them without writing them down? It finally dawned on me years later that writing out my speeches was a good idea, and I just never liked the idea of using notes to give my speeches, because as far as I was concerned, it did not look sharp enough. And in the interest of being effective, though, you must know that content is very important, and content is what we are talking about when we are talking about memorizing speeches or writing your speeches out. And by the time I got sold on writing them out, things had become different. As the speaking landscape began to change, moving to online speaking, writing down my speeches became a much bigger problem than it used to be, because I did it more and more, trying to practice it. But in video speaking, it creates a different relationship between me and the audience. Because in video speakers, it means to be effective, I have to connect with my audience by looking directly into the camera, by looking at them. And during delivery, I would have these index cards that I would have memory joggers on them. Online video speaking made all that a liability. You try that doing an online presentation, you could lose your audience in a matter of seconds. I tried that doing an online presentation one time and saw the video of myself. It was not a good look, in that I found that when I was reading those cards, the audience was looking at the back of my eyelids. So while I had progressed to writing down my speeches out, finally, which I needed to do, online video created another problem for me. How was I going to look at my notes and connect with my audience by looking directly into the camera at the same time? Well, I'm happy to say that I have solved that problem, as you can see, and I have solved it in spades. And if you want to know how I solved it, stick with me and I just might tell you. And you know, it seems I had known that solution for a long time, and it is indeed solution number 2. If only I had known. Others have been using this solution for so many years, and I had heard of others using it, but alas, that solution and my reluctance to take it on cost me greatly, even though I knew better. Had I made the decision much earlier, I would have been much better off. Solution number 2 is find someone to be accountable to. I needed to be held accountable to use the solution for myself. That is a prime example of what I talked of earlier when I said you got to do everything that you know. In short, be accountable to someone. Be accountable to someone who has a vested interest to tell you the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the exciting conclusion. In earlier videos, I suggested that the solution might be 3 solutions in one. We have talked about the first part of that solution, which is having an outside objective opinion. Getting an outside objective opinion from someone who matters is crucial to getting over the fear of online speaking. The next part of that solution was to do what you know how to do. Doing what we know how to do is greatly enhanced by having someone hold us accountable. That person is a coach. With the combination of number 1 and number 2, we end up getting the results that we have never gotten before. This results because of a little thing called synergy. Have you ever heard of synergy? If you have heard of synergy, just write synergy in the comments section. If you have not heard of synergy, write the words "new to me" in the comments section. Synergy is defined as a result that occurs when you combine 2 or more things that exceeds the benefit of the total of those things combined, which ends up being a third thing. It's sort of like 10 plus 10 equals 30 instead of just 20. That third thing is solution number 3. The solution I told you about? Why, that is a coach. I don't mean a speaking coach, and I don't mean a writing coach, and I don't simply mean a business coach. I am talking about a coach that impacts every area of your life. You see, some of us are speaking on the wrong topic. If you know me, you know that I speak on the topic of mindsets all the time. I speak in terms of how you define your life by the thoughts that you allow to live in your mind. For years, I lived in a state of pure anxiety, thinking that the things outside of me were responsible. I mean, I had anxiety attacks for 15 years, sometimes 5, 10, 15 times per day. Well, I didn't want to take any drugs, and I was really trying to keep it a secret because I was cool, right? Now, it took someone really talented to get me past that, and had I not had a coach, someone who knew me well, I would have not taken the time to look deep inside and find out the source of the malady. Strangely enough, there are many people who deal with that same situation. Ultimately, the main problem I solve in my talks is that what I just talked about. Now, whatever it is, what actually exists inside of you is at the very core of your being that you too can talk more about. But it lives in your subconscious mind. That particular topic may be a problem for other people, it may be a problem for me, but it's no problem for you because you live there. And if you are not talking about that very thing in your regularly scheduled talks, then you may actually be talking about the wrong thing. You may need a coach to direct you in the area where you want to be. In my case, I still speak on mindset even when I'm not in the front of the room. I speak on mindset to somebody every day of my life. So when I have my speaking engagements, it just kind of flows out of me. And as it's flowing out of me, the camera captures what's inside of me. I told you how the camera will capture the real you even when you're trying to hide it. For me, the real me is the guy that's committed to helping people master their mindsets. And helping people master their mindsets is what I'm all about. Now, the truth is, you are unique, I am unique. Now, can I get you to just write the word unique in the comment section? That lets me know that you acknowledge that you are unique and that the way that synergy manifests for you is unique. Everything, yes, everything about online speaking comes together in a synergistic way. And you know it when you see it. And those are really the three keys. Again, they are a meaningful and outside objective opinion, a strong, aggressive accountability partner, and with the combination of those two, new and better results than you have achieved in the past. Knowing that it's not one size fits all, and that the way that you will crush the fear of online video speaking is going to be different from the way I do it or someone else does it, really validates why giving you those 5 things we talked about in the beginning of this video is pointless. I want to relieve the pressure that you may be under from thinking that you're doing something wrong in the first place. If something isn't working for you and it's working for someone else, it just means that your style is unique and you need just to tweak it a bit. That's the little thing that makes a big difference. Coaches are experts at extracting your unique style, so what I'd like you to do right now is to hopefully make sure that this was helpful. Can you just drop me a thumbs up in the line or smash the like button just to let me know we're on the right track with what we're saying? Or just say it's helpful in the comments if any of this was eye-opening. I caution you though, let's not get caught up on making these 3 things into check boxes because we've already decided that check boxes do not work because we are all unique, right? But synergistically, those solutions rock. In varying combinations, they are sure to get your fear of video speaking under control, to change your results, to get your speaking back to the way that you want it to be. Like this video, and that just lets me know that you're liking this. Lets me know that you're interested in this. This is something that you found helpful and that you'd like a little bit more guidance. Let's work together in transforming the fear of online speaking and then dealing with that fear and creating results similar to those that you have gotten in the normal public speaking arena. I'll reach out to you and we'll just chat about it. You know, I got a couple of questions for you just to find out a little bit about your situation. Find out about your uniqueness, and then I can offer some support in terms of what would actually work for you. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to go back and watch numbers 1 and 2. Let me know that you'd like a little bit more information about what your next steps might be. And one last thing. I want you to know that my driving passion is this. There are lots of speakers out there that have a fear of online speaking, and I don't want you to be one of them. Always remember this. I believe in you and your ability to get your message out to the world fearlessly. That's why I do this. Victor Irving Jenkins, until next time, have a good time. View attitudes.